My name is Ken Kring, and thank you for watching Superior Marketing Strategy by Leveraging Integrated Thinking. We are all working harder and faster to get more out of what it is we have to work with. Many of us have institutionalized levels of ADD. This video is designed for those who want a quick overview, but keep some of the details in. If you're looking for even more detail than this video, then please check out the book Business Strategy Mapping: The Power of Knowing How It All Fits Together. It's a fun read. To best appreciate the benefits of integrated thinking when designing marketing strategies, it's useful to first understand the challenges inherent with disintegrated thinking. Have you ever worked with an agency that was more interested in winning awards than helping you sell things? Had marketers use phrases like buzz, energy, and vibe while you wonder, what are they really doing to our brand? Taken advanced marketing classes that only address marketing without taking into account how those decisions affect the rest of the company? Have you ever struggled to answer, how do I best invest my marketing budget? Don't worry, almost everybody else has. Here's something to think about. We teach people how to split atoms, we teach people how to transplant hearts, and yet we can't explicitly teach people how marketing, finance, and operations all fit together? Come on, really? That's just intellectual malpractice. We teach in silos, we write in silos, we work in silos, and then we're mystified we have a problem with silos? Really? Come on. Functional silos are great for the efficiencies they bring. You can't get those efficiencies any other way, but real business cuts across silos to get real work done. So for goodness sakes, let's know how the silos fit together. Siloed thinking often optimizes companies right into the ground. From the illustration in the first panel, you see Acme pies amalgamated, and right on the other side of the road is Mom's homemade apple pies. In the next panel, Acme isn't doing as well as they once were, and now you see it's Mom's homemade pies. She's gone beyond just making apple because Mom's just getting to be that big. And in the third panel, you see Acme really wasn't able to turn it around, and now it's Mom's Pies Incorporated. Not homemade anymore. Why? Because Mom's just getting to be that big. In the final panel, you see that it's Mom's Pies International, but right outside the plant fence is Auntie's Homemade Apple Pies. Lather, rinse, repeat. This happens in business all the time, sometimes quickly, many times over a longer period of time, but all caused by siloed thinking. Historically, siloed thinking has led to many marketing tragedies. Beautiful marketing campaigns that are horrifically unprofitable, operationally unfeasible, damage the company's brand, and on it goes. Lots of companies decade after decade. None of this is ever necessary if companies understood how things fit together, how their marketing, finance, and operations all fit together. And in an effort to try and make things better, some are eternally wandering in the business conference desert. You can go to business conferences for decades and see different people ask the exact same questions over and over and over again, which leaves you to wonder what wasn't done right the first time that it requires the same questions to be asked and answered over and over and over again. Without anchoring business initiatives into a larger framework of integrated thinking, many initiatives have the same staying power as the output from a confetti cannon. Whee! It's fun for a while, but 2 weeks later you're left vacuuming up the little bits and left wondering, what was that all about? Many companies don't need to look much farther than their last superficial marketing campaign for an example of unfocused, unanchored, and disintegrated thinking. The end result of disintegrated thinking? Wasted marketing budgets, lack of alignment in the efforts of everyone, confusion, frustration, inefficiency, low productivity. Oh, it just goes on and on. Now that we've talked about the damage disintegrated thinking can do, we're going to talk about the power and the benefits of integrated thinking. Illustrating the value of integrated thinking can be done through a quick exercise. Take 3 groups of people and have each group assemble the exact same jigsaw puzzle. The first group with the puzzle pieces face down, the second group with the puzzle pieces face up, and the third group with the puzzle pieces face up and with a copy of the puzzle box lid. Which group is going to be the happiest, the fastest, the most productive? The group with the puzzle box lid. Know what your puzzle box lid looks like. It's important. Here's another way to think about it. Life, business, data, everything is like a Seurat oil painting. It's all nothing but a series of dots, but if you know how all the dots fit together, you can take a step back and clearly see the larger picture. The river, the park, the woman with the parasol, and for some reason that darn little monkey she brings with her everywhere. Who brings a monkey with them everywhere? So how do we fix all this? The answer is business strategy mapping, or another way to think about it, integrated thinking, leveraging the power of knowing how it all fits together. The framework you're going to see was initially designed years ago in a conversation with the CEO. At the tail end of a meeting, he asked me, how do we best grow the company? I thought about it and I said, well, we need to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. He paused and thought about it and said, what I really need to know is how do I best invest in the company? I went to give him an answer and I thought to myself, that is a very different question. In sitting down to answer the question for the CEO, how do I best invest in my company, it quickly dawned on me that unless I knew how the decisions in Area A affected the decisions in Area B and how it affected the whole given the flow of the business, I wasn't going to be able to figure it out. Now that we've talked about the damage that disintegrated thinking can do and the benefits of integrated thinking, we're now going to move on to how to think in an integrated sort of way. The siloed view of the company really didn't show how the business works. To figure that out, I first had to understand how the business flowed from potential to profitability and the points in between. Now, when we talk about profitability, it has to be the profitability for both the company and the customer. Both need to win, because if one doesn't win, then neither wins, because one will walk away from the other. When talking at conferences about the profitability for the customer, some people are still a little confused by what it is I mean. So we run through a quick exercise. I ask them, what's the most you're willing to pay for a gallon of milk before you won't buy milk anymore? And everybody only sells it in gallons and everyone sells it for the same price. They'll usually give me an answer, we work through it, and the difference between what it is they're willing to pay and what it is they actually pay is the profitability for the customer. If people value something for the exact same price they pay for it, then they're indifferent as to whether they buy it in the first place at all or not. There's another way to look at business, products, projects, opportunities. They all move from potential to profitability and the points in between. That is profitability for the company and profitability for the customer. But there needs to be a balancing point. Without a balancing point, you get companies calling in motivational speakers to cheer, rah, 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 the customer is our number one priority. And later on that same week, the CEO will cheer, rah, 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 the shareholder is our number one priority. Profitability for the customer usually resonates with the marketing department. Profitability for the shareholders usually resonates with the finance department. And if you don't articulate a balancing point, you get turf wars, which can reduce the overall value generated for everybody. You wind up with a lack of employee engagement, discontentment, low productivity, wasting marketing budgets, lack of agility, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. The benefit of the balancing point is it gives a clear sense of a shared direction, aligning everybody, making everything more efficient. Integrated thinking is the difference between a mission statement and a good one. Let's say that you have a company and that it's in San Diego and you say our mission, our vision is we're going to head east. Some employees will stop in Texas and say this is where you meant right. Other employees will stop in Maine and say this is where you meant right. Or if you gave it 90 more minutes of thought, just 90 more minutes, you could say our mission, our vision is to be at the corner of State and Madison at Chicago at 12:15 on a Thursday. Your employees in Texas will know how to correct. The employees in Maine will know how to correct. And your overseas suppliers to whom East meant something totally different, they'll know how to correct. Why? Because you took the time to articulate a unifying star on the horizon and you didn't just say East. This is the power of knowing how it all fits together. In further breaking down how things flow from potential to profitability and the points in between, it turns out it's 4 sections with what we're given, what do we do about it, what are the results, and how successful were we. Some may find this intuitive conversational approach a little unnerving, so for those people you can say, given the situational analysis, what is the action plan, how are we going to measure results, and how are we going to evaluate results at the very end? The framework I'm going to show you with boxes and lines is just a conversation of with what it is we're given, what do we do about it, what's the result, how successful were we. I'm going to talk you through the conversation right now, and then we'll get on to the boxes and lines. When we think about what it is we're given, first we want to define the subject we want to drive from potential to profitability and the points in between. Then what does the playing field look like? The customers, the competition, the company itself, other environmental factors. Then what are the objectives? The objectives of the business and the objectives of the customer. Then what is it that customers perceive as valuable? Perceived value being more important than actual value because perception is reality. And then what's the overall potential given everything above? When thinking about potential, it's useful to think about it as profit pools. Profit tends to collect in pools, so if you know the size, shape, and the location of your profit pool or profit pools, you'll know how to best tap into it to get the most value out of it. Now we move on to, with what it is we're given, what do we then do about it? What do we offer given everything above? Offer being 3 out of the 4 or 5 marketing P's, depending upon who it is you read, the product, the pricing, the placement, which is also the distribution. How do you hook customers from head to heart, all the way to the value delivered? You'll see more about that in a little bit. And then what are the key learnings up to this point? We've covered with what it is we're given, what do we do about it. Now we're on to what are the results? What are the revenues? What are the costs? And what's the difference or the profitability? We've talked about with what we're given, what do we do about it, what are the results. Now we're on to how successful were we? What are the perceived future trends? The market will reward you for this. What's the value to the shareholders? And then what's the critical balancing point between the value to the company and the value to the customers? Again, the bright, shiny star off on the horizon that everybody's going to aim at to make everybody aligned, happier, faster, and more productive. Again, you're just about to see a framework that has boxes and lines. What you need to remember is just a conversation like the one we just covered. Here's that very same framework all put together with boxes and lines so you can see how it flows from potential to profitability and the points in between, and especially that most important balancing point. And this is what the framework looks like, broken up into the 4 segments we talked about earlier. With what we're given, what do we do about it, what's the results, and how successful were we? Years ago, I showed this framework to the president of a Fortune 500 company. He looked at it and said, I don't see strategy on here. You said this was good at figuring out strategy. So I paused, thought about it, and then added the shaded in regions. You can see your objectives act as your strategy anchors. You set them up front. You design and execute against them in the middle, you measure them at the end, and you evaluate them at the very end. Your operational strategy can start in several different places, but it primarily starts with what it is you offer. By the value to the customer, you can see the end result of your marketing strategy. The reason I say the end result of your marketing strategy is because different people start their marketing strategies in different places. By the value delivered to the company, you can see the end result of your financial strategy. The reason I call this the end result is because different people start their financial strategies in different places, sometimes going all the way back to the playing field. You can also see the customer strategy on whether they trial, purchase, or repurchase. So if you take your objectives that act as your strategy anchors and your operational, marketing, finance strategy, and even the customer strategy, put them all together, you can come up with a balanced strategy, that point off on the horizon that's going to allow everybody to go ahead and be aligned when they march toward a shared goal together, being happier, faster, and more productive. Now, when we talk about hooking people all the way from their head to their heart, it works out like this. We want to get to their head so that they can learn about us, their smile so they can like us, to their hands or feet so they do something about it, to their heart for loyalty. How do we win over the whole customer? Now we are going to get even more specific about how to go ahead and leverage integrated thinking to design superior marketing strategies. For your customers, your brand is the foundation upon which your company is built. For people inside the company, it's useful to think of your brand as the psychic plaquey residue left over from every experience a person has ever had with you and the company. And the goal of your brand is to take up unique positive mental real estate to drive profitable behaviors of both customers and employees. A whole video could be done on this slide alone, but the short version of it is you want to shepherd everybody into the upper left-hand corner, all on a base of profitable compliance, being compliant with your mission and your brand, and being compliant with all applicable laws. Whether you are the CEO, the janitor, or anybody in between, your job, either directly or indirectly, is to drive profitable behaviors. And what drives behaviors? Perceptions. So this chart is incredibly important and powerful for setting marketing strategies on any initiative that you're working on. You want to take a look at what are the current perceptions that are driving the current behaviors of your target. What are the desired perceptions that are going to lead to the desired behaviors of your target, your goal? What are the primary actionable barriers that stand in the way of getting the whole thing to flip? And then given that, how are you going to design targeted, focused solutions to overcome the specific primary actionable barriers to flip the current to the desire to drive the behavior? This slide makes it so much easier to crush all those who oppose you. The challenge with so many unfocused initiatives is that they'll throw everything but the kitchen sink into a creative strategy brief, and what you'll get back is everything but the kitchen sink. But did you really get what you asked for? It's hard to say. Mishmash in, mishmash out. However, using that behaviors, barriers, and perceptions slide from earlier, you can provide your creative teams with a laser-like dot. Some people say, oh, a laser-like dot, your creative teams must hate that, it's too restrictive. Absolutely not. They love it. And the reason is because you've given them freedom within a framework. They know that they can come up with 1, 3, 57 different ways to go ahead and intersect the dot to give you exactly what it is you need, and all do it very creatively because they've been given the freedom to take the best approach to make that happen. The challenge with the everything but the kitchen sink method is because it's hard to tell what it is you really need, how to go ahead and deliver on it, and it causes usually everything to go over time and over budget. It's usually a frustrating mess. Giving a laser-like dot improves performance, keeping things on time and on budget. Everything up to this point is meant to give you practical tools to develop superior marketing strategies by leveraging integrated thinking. Now we're going to move on to the nuts and bolts of how it is you can best execute. The strategy framework shown earlier is an incredibly powerful and flexible tool at helping you leverage integrated thinking to design optimal marketing strategies. It can be used as a discovery tool to uncover and describe the current state of affairs. It can be used as a diagnostic tool to highlight areas of opportunities and risks. It can be used as a prescriptive tool to generate and articulate recommended courses of action. It can be used as a treatment tool, acting as a guide when executing courses of action, and especially when communicating the hows and whys behind those plans and actions to other people. It can be used as a measurement tool to monitor progress, and importantly, it can be used as an evaluation tool at the end to gauge the relative level of success of an effort and give clues as to when it is you want to re-examine your efforts in the next week, month, or quarter. The good news is completing your first pass through a business strategy map shouldn't take very long at all. You start with the issue you want to understand better. Use existing information. Goals, initiatives, and measures are a great place to start. Concentrate on areas of greatest concern first. Initially be brief. The process should go pretty quickly. There is even a worksheet you can use, a worksheet that will allow you to quickly fill in the blanks to build your business strategy map for the opportunity that you want to drive from potential to profitability and the points in between. You can think of filling out the worksheet as playing 20 questions 1.5 times. You can receive a free copy of the worksheet by simply sending a request for one to the email address above. Feel free to also send along any questions or comments you have. As a business geek, I love this stuff. And we all need to more quickly get to a place where we all understand integrated thinking much better. Again, the upside being we'll all be better aligned and happier, faster, and more productive for having done it. Here's an example of how we use the flow from head to heart to determine how to best invest our marketing budget. To get from the head to the heart, we're trying to get people to learn about us, like us, do something about it, have an experience to the total value delivered in loyalty. How do we win over the whole customer? For a credit card company, it turned out to be how do we get people to be aware of the card, have an affinity for our credit card, acquire the credit card, use it, revolve, retain. How do we increase our share of their wallet? Using available information, we quickly filled out the head-to-heart flow of the business strategy map. In determining how to best spend our marketing budget, there were usually binders and binders of information and conversations that went round and round over multiple meetings. In this instance, because we knew what the flow looked like, we decided to use just 3 numbers. We knew that 99% of the people were aware of the credit card. We had 63% of the credit-eligible population. And yet, out of the 4 major brands, our card was only 6% of the transaction volume. So it turned into a very simple exercise to figure out where to spend our marketing budget. Should we spend more money on awareness? No, only if it's awareness of a usage campaign, because that is where things were falling apart. Again, marketing that is not profitable hurts the company. Marketing that is operationally unfeasible destroys a company. Marketing inconsistent with the brand can damage the company, and it goes on and on. Marketing is done best when it leverages integrated thinking. Thanks for watching the video. Please share this with your friends, your coworkers, any educators you know. Let me know if you have any questions. The sooner we help others understand how it all fits together, the happier, faster, and productive we'll all be. Thank you. And finally, a little bit about me. My name is Ken Crane. Over the years, I've worked on both the client and agency sides of business, including Walmart, Walgreens, Sears and Kmart, Discover Financial Services, FCB, and others. The work I do is always designed to make everyone happier, faster, more productive. Happier, faster, and more productive by making it visually clear as to how to best drive the profitable behaviors of both the customers and the employees. I speak at a range of conferences, and I've done a number of workshops over the years, and I also do customized ones for companies. If you have any questions or comments or would like a free copy of the worksheet, feel free to reach out to me at the email address listed at the top of this page. And once again, thank you for taking the time to view this video, and please share this with others. Thanks. Bye.